Welcome back to the garage, everybody. Working on the old Blue Willies again. Today was kind of an admin small task day, just trying to get ducks in a row, if you will. This build is getting to the part now where it's just basically like there's still some bigger projects to do. Still have to finish welding the gas tank, and we have to do the exhaust and things like that. But now it's starting to be more like small tasks, and so it's time to make a list. And so that turned into a whiteboard-a-thon, as you can see with everything here. And this is basically just the engine compartment stuff. So I'm sure you can read through some of this. It's kind of just a brain dump for me while looking at it. I can take this board and move it so I can bring it in the house with me. I find that helpful when things get to this stage, and then I can go through and color code and mark things off. Like green is stuff that I had to go find and found. There's stuff like the 4.3 engine harness to look at that again and see if it's salvageable or if I'm going to have to go get a new one. The ECM, the starter, things like that. And so a lot of that is just going through and getting all your ducks in a row and starting to check off the small details. And so that can be kind of intimidating. I would I don't know if I would want to do that for the whole build at this point, but I'll basically go through and do it for one section, if you will. So this is basically engine compartment stuff or close to it. I think I got down to about the flywheel and the clutch stuff. So I have some parts I have to order there, and so it's good to get that stuff going. Some of those won't go in right away, but it's good to start getting them rounded up and thinking about all the little things that you have to do to button these up. And so that's where I'm at now. And I'll admit that, it gets to the point where that's intimidating. So what I do is once I get the list or a list like that done, then I'll go through and actually do some small tasks. And usually when I'm doing those small tasks in the area that I've identified, I come up with a couple more things. So it can be frustrating or overwhelming a little bit, but I find that doing it that way helps me when I build. So today what I did was I knew I was going to have to do some stuff for the MAF and air cleaner stuff. So the mass airflow sensor that's attaching to this, there's an air cleaner that we talked about that goes here. And so I needed something to support that. And I don't want it just hanging off the end of this throttle body or the new side draft manifold that I've been working on. So that was identified in the thing. So like MAF mount, stabilizer, and so I got to go through and identify some small tasks. So what I did was, I don't know if you can see it down there, I just ended up drilling a hole through the existing motor mount where I can put a sleeve. This was just some 3/8 thick wall DOM tubing I had, and there'll be a bolt that goes through there, and then you can basically just pull this bolt really quick and that sleeve will come out. And then attaching to that sleeve, I will do a post of some 3/4 inch like light wall tubing that will come up to the heat shield or whatever we end up doing there. So I think that's a good solution that's not gonna create too many more problems. I know somebody's gonna say it, but I did trap this bolt for the motor mount, but I don't see that as a big problem. I think to get in there anyways, you would have to pull the air filter out, so it's just one little 9/16 and it just slides right out. And then wherever that is, to stabilize that, I think I needed one more point, and so I just grabbed this boss on the alternator mount, and I don't know if you guys are getting the zoom in today or not. So this was just one that was there from the that was a leftover. I don't know what exactly was mounted there, and so I just made a small sleeve of 3/4 inch material. This bolt was kind of smaller, so I ended up just using some 3/4 inch bar stock and just bored a hole to match the fastener. So this fastener was actually the hardest part of the whole thing. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's like M8 fine thread. So I had to like dig out the bolt bucket and try and find one. I think this is actually from I think this is a Toyota bolt. So now this Jeep's got Toyota parts. But so that was the hardest part of the whole thing, was finding a dang fastener that was long enough to use for that. And so, but I didn't have to drill any holes. This is there. It's established. And basically what I can do with that then is I can go from this point to the other tube to kind of triangulate or brace that, and it should make a pretty strong little light structure. I'll just use some 3/4 inch, like 1/16 tubing to the heat shield and the air filter mount, MAF mount stuff. So just little things like that, you know, and I got to come back over here, and then I got to, you know, check that off the list and make some progress. And so then I turned up, I noticed I needed to connect the, this has got this Ford Ranger booster. So the Ford Ranger booster vacuum inlet is a different size than the GM inlet, and so I had to adapt those. So I just turned up a small little aluminum adapter that'll let me do that. This is more of like a, since it's vacuum, this is like a interference fit, so it shouldn't need hose clamps, but I might put one on there anyways, but they're usually pretty good about that. And then yeah, I found some hose clamps for the radiator hoses. I got to check, you know, that off the list. And so it just helps me to go through and you know, identify those. It just helps to identify, you know, what you got to do, and it's a portable list now. So I've definitely got some shopping I got to do for some parts. I can take that in the house with me and do those kind of things. So that was today. Like I said, kind of an admin small task day. I'm still waiting on parts for the exhaust. Those V-band clamps haven't shown up yet. I think they'll be here tomorrow, maybe the next day. And then I think there's like some cone reducers and stuff. But when those come in, then I can get back on the exhaust. And then when I have a bigger block of time, I can do the final welding on the gas tank. But I really want to get this Y pipe done. I think it's a challenge right now. So that getting that out of the way and around the drive shaft and make myself feel better that all that stuff's going to fit. So I did have the 3D printer running double shifts to make a whole bunch of those exhaust mock-up blocks. These are the straights. So these are 1 inch each. There's 2 different versions. That's why there's a different color. So these are like A side, B side. So you build it from the same direction, but if you have a segment, these are 1 inch each. If you have a segment that is longer than say 2 inches, or you know, whatever, you can actually substitute in a piece of 2-inch cardboard shipping tube and go from this ridge to this ridge, and from this ridge is 1/4 inch, and so it's easy to do the math, and it's easier than having to make more blocks when you have to do straight sections. I don't know how many straight sections there's going to be in there. Honestly, that thing's going to be a snake for sure. But yeah, so as soon as those parts get here, we can move on with the Y pipe, and gas tank stuff's coming, and it'll just be, you know, tasks like this, and pretty soon this thing will be running, driving Jeep. It's sure looking cool, I can tell you that. I don't know if you can see it right there, but kind of gives it some better scale too. I'm kind of struggling with that in videos, like things don't look exactly to scale. So I am 5'10", so 70 inches tall, and the cage is, this is exactly 70 inches tall to the top of the cage at the top of the B pillar right there. And so not bad for a Jeep on 37s with 5-6 inches up travel. So thanks for following along, and if you have any questions, drop a comment below, and subscribe, and bells and whistles and all that stuff. So thanks again. We'll talk to you later. Catch you on the next one. Bye.